In this video, I will be showing you how to configure the IIS HL7 Tester to connect to a new interface. In this case, I've already had the IIS HL7 Tester installed and running. If you see down here below, I have it running on localhost 8086/tester, and this is the application. Over here is the test folder for the IIS HL7 data folder, and then inside it is one connection already set up. There's the ssm.config.txt that I set up when I initially started. But when I initially started, I didn't configure it appropriately, so now I want to actually configure it to connect to my new connection. And let me show you the new connection I'm trying to connect it to. These are the parameters here. On this URL, HTTP, on my local network, I have the DQA set up to receive data. So let me show you what that interface looks like. This is the DQA incoming interface. A person here can put a user ID, a password, a facility ID in, and the actual HL7 message here, and they can submit it. And I want to connect the IIS tester to this interface. And so today I'm going to demonstrate how that's done. So I'm going to go to openimmunizationsoftware.net, click on interfacing, and then on the IIS HL7 tester, and scroll down to where the installation process is. And we are actually going to go through the first step on the installation process, which is prepare. So I'm going to repeat step number 1. I'm not going to go through step 2, 3, or 4. Well, actually, I will go through step 2, but we're not going to repeat all the steps. So don't worry about A and B because you already have done that. Just check on choose a template to configure. In this case, the standard that we're using is the old default post standard. So I'm going to click on that. And then I'm going to say step 2 configure. And this takes me back to a screen. If you remember from installation, this is a screen I stepped through. By the time I put a URL in that I didn't know, so it was just a fake one. So this is a default post. I'm going to call this I want to call this DQA test because that's what term I would call that. And then the URL is going to be this URL. So I'm just going to copy that. I'm just going to paste it right here. That's where it's going to go to. The user ID is Micker standard right here. So I'm going to copy that off, paste that there. The password is this long funny thing here. Paste that there. And the facility ID is 1201. Put that there. So now I've put in all the parameters that they've asked for. URL, user ID, password, facility ID. And then I'm going to hit download and save. And on my browser, I get a nice little pop-up box that says, do you want to save it? I want to save this file, which is great. And I don't want to save it. Don't save it in your C program web files. Apache Software Foundation Tomcat web apps. You actually need to save this in the folder where you are saving all your data out. In this case, I put it under C users Nathan IIS HL7 Tester, and here is my test folder. And there is already at ssm.config.txt. I don't want to use that one. I'm going to use this new one, so I'm going to replace it. It says it already exists. I say yes, I do want to replace it. Alright, so that's done there. Now let's go take a look and see what it did. So it just updated the ssm.config.txt file, and I'll actually open it up over here and show you what it looks like. So it's called DQA test. That was the label I typed in. It's a post. It's going to go to this URL. That's the user ID. The password's actually been hidden. It's been munched up so you can't see it. And the facility ID is 1201. So it's good. Let's go ahead and see see if we're able to connect. So I'm going to close this configuration window. I'm going to close this window. I'm going to close this window. We're back to here. So I'm going to go ahead and log into my local application, my tester. The password was set up when I installed this. Okay, so now I'm in. I need to connect to that DQA. So I'll click on connect. The count is called DQA test. And that's the only one I can select. So that's that label I just typed in there. It shows up there. And I'm going to hit switch. Alright, so should be on that now. Let's go ahead and click on edit test case. When I click on edit test case, if I haven't already created a message, it already makes one. So all I do is just click on edit test case and then I just click on send message. And what you'll see is it's already done, and this will explain in a different video how edit test does this, but essentially it's already created a test message, which is great. I like testing with these test messages. I'm going to go ahead. Its connection is testing. We want actually DQA test post. The other one was showing up. But this is the connection it's actually going to use to connect. Here's the message. And let's just submit it and see what happens. Great. It works. Message accepted with 3 vaccinations. That's what came back. So this message was accepted. And that is how you change the connection. Now, one thing you should know is if you'd like to make a new connection, so let's say I don't want to make test anymore. I want to say I want to make a test 2. I can make a new folder right here. But what you'll see, what happens with it, is that it won't automatically be recognized. So let me show you how to make a new, let's say I want to make a new connection. In this case, I'm going to make a connection to the same place, just to be simple. But if I want to make a second test folder, the IIS tester will not automatically see it. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and take this ssm.config text from the original test. I'll put it in test 2, and I'm going to edit it slightly. So DQS test number 2. So it's different, but it's actually the same connection parameters. And as you see, it's just ssm.config.txt sitting all by its lonesome in this test 2 folder. The IIS HL7 Tester has not recognized it as here. So what I have to do is, again, open the services panel. So I'm just pulling up services here. Here's the services panel. And what we do is that the application only looks inside these directories for new folders when it's starting. So I just simply restart this. Okay, so it stopped and it's restarted. And if we go look inside this test2 folder, voila, here we go. There's the folder created, and there's SSM config file there. And if I go back to web application and I say home, it thinks I'm logged out because it restarted. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. And then I'm going to click on connect to IIS. And now you'll see it has DQA test and DQA test number 2. So I can switch to DQA test number 2. I can click on edit test case, send message, and now I get a new message, and I can submit it, and that one works as well, just the same as the first one did. So going back to this, if you want to reconfigure your interfaces, you can always change the SSM config. You can either manually change it, or you can go through the process of generating a new SSM config text and overriding the previous one. And the IIS HL7 Tester will automatically reread the SSM config.txt whenever you click on this switch right here. When you click switch, it rereads that file. So you can update those files whenever you want. But if you want to add a new interface, a new folder on here for a new kind of connection, you have to restart Tomcat in order for the application to re-recognize those items as being in there. That's the end of how to set up a connection. In later videos, we'll actually show how to go through and do the testing.